He walked into the airport dressed in a sharp suit, carrying only a small laptop bag, calm, confident, and polite. But when he reached the first-class boarding gate, everything changed. The airline staff looked him up and down and said, "Sir, this area is for first-class passengers only." Even after he showed them his valid first-class ticket, they still refused to let him in. People nearby began watching. Some whispered, some pulled out their phones to record. But the man didn't argue or shout. He simply stepped aside and made one quiet phone call. What happened next left the entire airport in chaos. Flights were delayed, managers rushed in, and the airline staff's faces turned pale with fear. All this because they had no idea who this man really was. Hi there, and welcome to this channel, a place where simple moments turn into powerful stories. On this channel, we don't just tell stories. We reveal the truth behind people's actions, their struggles, their strength, and how one small decision can create big changes. Whether it's kindness and justice or a surprising twist of fate, every story has a lesson to teach us. In today's video, you'll witness a situation that many people can relate to. A man is judged not by his character, but by how he looks. He's calm, he's respectful, he has done nothing wrong. Yet still, he's treated unfairly. But what the airline staff didn't know is who he really was, and how their quick judgment would lead to something they never expected. This isn't just a story about an airport. It's a story about respect, power, and standing up without raising your voice. Watching this video will make you think twice before judging someone. It reminds us that we should treat everyone with kindness and respect, because we never truly know who they are or what they've been through. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room holds the most power. So if you enjoy stories that inspire you, make you feel something deep, and leave you with a message to carry through your day, then you're in the right place. Please like this video to show your support. Share it with your friends and family so they can learn from it too. And subscribe to Whisper Story for more stories that touch the heart and open the mind. Because sometimes all it takes is one story to change how we see the world. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated unfairly just because of how you look, what you wear, or where you come from? Maybe someone didn't take you seriously. Maybe someone made a rude comment. Or maybe you stayed silent, just like the man in this story, and let your actions speak louder than words. We want to hear your voice. Share your experience in the comments below. Have you ever been judged too quickly? How did you handle it? What would you have done in this situation? Your story might inspire someone else who's going through the same thing. Let's start a real conversation in the comments section, because your voice matters here on this channel. It was a bright, busy morning at one of the country's biggest airports. The lines were long, the announcements kept coming, and people rushed from gate to gate, trying not to miss their flights. In the middle of this rush stood a man, calm, well-dressed, holding a small leather bag and a first-class boarding pass. His name was Mr. Jordan Miles, a quiet man, always polite, always composed. What most people didn't know was that he was also the CEO of a fast-growing tech company, recently listed on the stock exchange. A self-made millionaire. But you couldn't tell by looking at him. And that's where things went wrong. Mr. Miles approached the first-class gate, expecting a smooth boarding process. But as soon as the airline staff saw him, their expressions changed. They gave each other quick looks. One of them stepped forward and said, "Excuse me, sir, this area is for first-class passengers only." Jordan smiled, thinking it was a simple misunderstanding. "Yes, I know," he said, holding out his boarding pass. But the staff member barely looked at the pass. "This ticket must be a mistake," she said. "Are you sure this is your seat?" He nodded calmly. "I'm sure. I booked it myself." Instead of apologizing or checking properly, the staff called for a supervisor. Passengers behind him started watching, confused. Whispers filled the air. Some people even began recording the scene with their phones. Mr. Miles stood still, not angry, not loud, just silently observing. The supervisor arrived and, without even speaking to him properly, told him he'd have to step aside while they figure things out. They didn't offer him a seat. They didn't check the system. They simply assumed he didn't belong there. Little did they know, the man they were treating like a mistake was someone who had the power to cause a storm with just one phone call. And that's exactly what he was about to do. As Mr. Miles stood there, pushed aside like he didn't matter, people around him began to murmur. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Others stared in silence, sensing that something wasn't right. The airline staff ignored his calm presence and continued checking in other passengers. One of them even muttered under her breath, "He's probably trying to sneak in." Another laughed. "No way someone like him flies first class." He heard every word, but still, he didn't raise his voice. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. Instead, Mr. Miles slowly reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his phone. With a few taps, he made a call. He spoke quietly, politely. "Yes, it's me. I'm at gate 34. There's a situation I need you to look into." "Thank you." The call lasted less than 30 seconds. He put his phone back into his pocket and stood there, waiting, calm, collected. But if you looked closely, you could sense it. Something was coming. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Suddenly, there was a shift in the air. A man in a suit came jogging toward the gate, not walking, jogging holding a tablet in his hand, and looking around nervously. Behind him were 2 more people wearing airport badges. They were scanning the crowd, whispering urgently into radios. Then one of the gate agent's phones rang. Her smile faded. She picked it up, and her face turned pale. She looked at Mr. Miles, then quickly looked away. Another agent rushed over and whispered, "That's him. That's the guy." The supervisor who had dismissed him just minutes ago was now sweating, panicking. Passengers watched as more staff showed up, managers, security, even a regional airline executive, all of them now crowding around the same man they had told to step aside. The very gate that denied him entry was now in full alert mode. Flight delays were announced. A quiet corner of the airport had suddenly become the center of chaos. And through it all, Mr. Miles said nothing. He simply stood there, the same man they had ignored, now commanding the full attention of everyone around him. The tension at Gate 34 could be felt in the air. People had stopped checking their phones. Conversations had gone quiet. All eyes were locked on the man in the suit, the same man who was denied his rightful seat just 30 minutes ago. And now everything was changing. A woman in a dark blazer, clearly someone important, rushed through the gate with 2 security officers and walked straight toward Mr. Miles. She looked nervous, out of breath, and extremely apologetic. "Mr. Miles," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "please forgive us. This should never have happened." Suddenly, the staff who had earlier ignored him were now standing frozen. Some looked down in shame. One of them quietly stepped away and disappeared into the back. Passengers were whispering louder now. "Wait, who is he? Is he famous? Is he someone important?" The woman continued, "Sir, we've been informed that you're not only a valued guest, but also a senior partner with one of our airline's biggest technology providers. Your company handles our global payment systems and our booking security protocols." Everyone around was stunned. In that moment, it all became clear. Mr. Jordan Miles wasn't just a man with a ticket. He was one of the key people behind the very system that runs the airline. The same man the gate staff had refused to treat with respect was someone who could affect their jobs, their systems, and their company's future. The woman turned to her staff and said firmly, "This treatment is completely unacceptable. There will be consequences." Then she faced Mr. Miles again. "We've arranged a private boarding experience for you. Your seat has been upgraded, and our executive lounge is prepared if you prefer to wait there. Please accept our deepest apologies." Mr. Miles simply nodded. He still hadn't raised his voice, not once. As he walked toward the aircraft, a few passengers clapped softly. Some shook their heads in disbelief. One person said quietly, "That man handled everything with more class than this airline ever could." The gate area slowly returned to normal, but the memory of what had just happened stayed heavy in the air. The airline staff remained silent, some embarrassed, some clearly shaken. Passengers continued to board, but the mood had changed. Everyone had seen what just happened. The man they had judged, the man they had refused to let board, turned out to be the most powerful person in the room. But Mr. Miles didn't gloat. He didn't smile proudly or act like he had won something. He simply walked to his seat with quiet dignity. That's who he was. Someone who didn't need to raise his voice to be heard or flash his success to earn respect. And while he never said it out loud, he left everyone with a message they would never forget. Treat every person with respect, not because of what they wear, not because of their title, but because it's the right thing to do. Later that week, the airline issued a public statement apologizing for the incident. Internal investigations began, and the staff members involved were removed from frontline duty. But more importantly, something else happened. People who watched the video online, who saw passengers' recordings and read the news, began to ask themselves, how many times have we judged someone based on how they looked? How many times have we been wrong? So, what can we learn from this story? Always treat people with kindness, no matter who they are. Power doesn't always come with loud voices sometimes. It walks quietly, dressed in calm confidence. And never forget you never truly know who you're standing next to. If this story moved you, made you think, or reminded you of a time when you were judged too quickly, please like this video to support real, meaningful stories. Share it with your friends, because someone out there needs to hear this. And subscribe to this channel or more powerful stories that touch hearts, open minds, and leave you with something to carry through your day. Until next time, stay kind, stay aware, and keep listening, because every person has a story worth hearing.